Hi. As we've been seeking a more effective prayer life in this key time to pray, and we've been looking at the Jesus-directed prayer in Matthew 6, 9 through 13, we've already seen that the daily bread part comes in relation to God's name, God's glory, God's agenda. And praying this, that we would be in it, that we would be focused on it, but also that more people would discover God's honor, God's glory, God's name, and his salvation, and so forth. So, having moved into the daily bread a little bit last Sunday, here today I'd like to focus on the daily part. The daily part. In Matthew 6, that kind of goes with the context elsewhere in the chapter that tells us not to worry. This kind of merges a little bit with some of the face chats recently. Also, the daily part points back to the manna in Exodus 16. God's perfect provision for that time. I know the people craved meat after a while. They got tired of it. But if you remember, it was God's perfect provision. And when he finally gave them what they craved, it wasn't good. The manna, too, was to be gathered only enough for that day, and then there would be a double gathering before the Sabbath day. This also merges with Psalm 23, too, the daily bread and the green pastures that the Lord, our shepherd, leads us into. Bible scholars like Ray Vander Laan and others have pointed out that the green pastures in the Bible lands are not green like our pastures. They're just enough. It's where the dew, kind of like what our horses are dealing with now, just a little bit of growth every day, just enough for the day. And again, it's the emphasis on him leading us and the dependency upon him and his providing our need day by day. So daily bread is really about living in today, the present today. E.T. Welch, one of my favorite authors, says this: "Today is a skill that the Lord is quite keen to give his people. Like all skills, you will not master it immediately, but you can grow in it now." So I'm thinking, now? Are we growing in today? I know someone that is gone now, but when they found out why he was losing weight and able to lose weight suddenly, they found that the cancer made them have a new normal. This is a great time for us, just because of what's going on, to have a new normal and to learn the skill of today. Also in Matthew 6, 31 through 34, it says 3 times, do not worry. Verse 25 and verse 31 and verse 34. 31 through 34 says, "So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear?" Those were the basic things in the first century. I don't think that's an exhaustive list. Jesus goes on to say, "For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." So what's the difference between responsible planning, like the next step, the phase 2 of meeting here and, getting back in, and what restrictions we may have and what we may need to do. Planning is necessary, but what's the difference between worry and planning? Because sometimes it seems almost the same. And we know that to not plan is not responsible. It seems to me that the difference would be our focus. He's still our shepherd. He's always going to give us what we need for the moment, for the present. I think the difference is in attitude. If we're confident in him and that he's way ahead of us, not only will he show us what to do, but he has plans that may be different, but he will bless. And also patience when we're waiting for direction and it hasn't come yet. I'm not good at that at all. But that's an aspect of today that I get to learn, and I hope we get to learn it together. Isn't it also where we submit our hopes, our desires, even our desires for other spiritual growth, our ideas of what we need to him? This kind of merges with where we have our treasure. You know, what I talked about a couple of chats ago, where whatever we really care about, will usually, our worries will show us what we really care about. Anyway, I can't do the Buddhist thing. I don't. The Bible doesn't teach that. You know, Buddhists were out to eradicate desire. Our job is to bring our desires, our dreams, our hopes to Him. But until we surrender them, we have anxiety, we have worry, we have the opposite of lying down in the green pasture of today. If we worry and are anxious, we're robbed of the moment with Him and learning the skill of today. One of the things we're praying in this time, using this Jesus-directed prayers for others to discover the rest and the peace from trying to earn our way to heaven, from the burden of sin that we carry, and also the rest and the peace that we get to enjoy during this time, even though we have questions. So, daily bread, learning to do today. I want to go there together with you. God bless you.